I was studying law because that was also one field which really interested me, for many, many years.
What is it about law for you?
I just loved law. I just loved it. For me, I got fascinated by seeing how advocates debate issues in court, how attorneys do their thing, and I admired them. I was serious that I was not going to compromise, because I thought, I am in this life to be a doctor, and then and nothing else, and otherwise it was not going to happen. In third year, I happened to fail my third year because I quarreled with one of my professors. That then led to problems because I'm owing the university money.
And you're a failing student.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. I was ready to face whatever challenge, as long as it was a challenge that was leading me towards my dream. I do feel that I've not yet reached the best of what the best version of Ronnie Masilela. I'm still striving.
At 71, that still exists.
Yes, I still think I'm still striving to be the best Ronnie Masilela that I can be. And I've not yet reached that point.
King David Studio Podcast.
I managed once again to get hold of Dr. Ronnie Masilela, who not long he'll be Dr. Advocate Ronnie Masilela. You may remember that episode, and I insist that you go check it out. It was a beautiful 6-hour recording where Baba was just taking us back to forced removals, where he was born and all of that. And we were talking about how an old man of 40-something decided to go study medicine. And he describes that entire story, what was going on, the challenges of sleeping in a car, of being away from home. He tells that entire story of back then when he was still a presenter on Ukhozi. Was it Ukhozi or Radio Zulu at the time? He'll tell us, he'll remind us. He's right here. And the reason why is because in his over 70, he got another degree. I hope you're well. Hey, Bob.
Yebo, David.
Ukrend.
Yeah, man, ngiyaphila, mhlobo wami. Thank you so much for this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, ngiyaphila. I'm still doing both, live and kicking. I don't know what I'm kicking, but I'm kicking.
You're not doing one of them. You're doing both.
I am doing both, yeah.
I'm blown away. Remind us of some of the stuff from the last time we spoke. When did you go and study medicine? Remind us of that. So those who are watching this for the first time, they will know some of these small details.
Yeah, no, thank you, David, once again for this wonderful opportunity. Yeah, just to recap on what we touched on the last time was that, I'm Ronnie Masilela, from the poorest of the poor, that we have already dealt with, where we were so poor. And, you are so poor to a point where you admire other people who are also poor, but you consider them better. Brought up by grandparents who passed on, in 71 and 79 respectively. And but all the while, there was this dream of wanting to become a doctor. And during the time, then it was difficult to become a doctor because of lack of resources. But then along the pathway of life, God took me to Sabc, where I joined Sabc, on the 1st of April, 1982. The 1st of April, 1982.
Amazing, you still remember the date and the year and everything.
1st of April, 1982, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I was at Auckland Park. My first interview ever, where I did an interview to become a presenter on Ukhozi FM. And initially I was told that I didn't qualify, and only a few months later, in August, did I get a message that Sabc wants me, and I started at Sabc on the 1st of September 1982, where I worked as a commentator, and alongside people that I consider, along people who were my heroes. For me, that was a breakthrough. I don't want to say my first breakthrough, because for me, to be alive was my first breakthrough, because I always say, just to digress a little bit, I'll continue with the SABC story. I always said, and I still maintain, that as a result of all the poverty and the lack of resources and the illnesses that I had at the time as a child, it would have made a lot of sense if I had died at the time. What didn't make sense is that I survived.
You spoke of illnesses. You were a sickly child.
Extremely sickly. I was so sickly that I was always smaller than my peers. I think at the age of 9, I looked like, I was like a 7-year-old. I was weak and I was very sickly and I weak and thin, as it turned out later in life, the diagnosis was that I was asthmatic. At the time, we didn't know. But my grandparents tried, with all the over-the-counter medication to sustain me. And I had a lot of illnesses. I was asthmatic. I had a chronic headache. I had a nosebleed that never stopped. And now imagine, amongst all those, and there were no resources, there was not even a clinic. The nearest hospital was Philadelphia, which was something like 50 km away, and the only transport at home was my grandfather's bicycle.
Yeah.
So now what I'm saying by narrating that is to say it would have made a lot of sense if I had died at the time, but I didn't die. So now I survived, and my grandparents then went one at a time. In July 1971, my grandmother. In October 1979, my old man, and I went on, forged ahead alone in life. It was a huge struggle, and until God took me to SABC, where I started, like I've said earlier on the 1st of September. 1982. I worked, but throughout all these struggles, there was this desire to become a doctor. But at the same time, I hope I'm not complicating my story, because one friend of mine in the US said I am a complicated being. Maybe I am, I don't know. Somewhere there was also this thing that one day I will also be a radio presenter. But how it was going to pan out and how these events were going to follow one another, I didn't know. But I knew that my dream was to be a doctor, but I loved radio with all my heart. And I followed radio very closely. Even when I worked, at the mines, my radio was my best friend. I listened to my heroes, Elijah Teta Masombuga, Joshua Mlaba, Linda's father, Thokozani Nene, Stanley Boy Khatewe, Mduduzi Hlope. And as it turned out now on the 1st of September, God said, now you admired all these people, come work with them. For me, it was something else. For me, a boy from Kwandebele who was nothing, all of this. All of a sudden now I'm a radio presenter. But now the problem was this thing of wanting to be a doctor. That was like a cancer that was eating.
It never left you?
No, it never. Even when I was at SABC, with all the difficulties at SABC, there were many difficulties at the time. But I just told myself, maybe the difficulties were there as a constant reminder that I don't belong here, that I needed to move on. And as it turned out then, to cut a long story short, because we've already gone over this, but to cut a long story short then, after 10 years...
Of being at the SABC?
Yeah, being at SABC. Friday, the 21st of February, 1992. Then it was my last shift. And Monday, the 24th of February, 1992, I walked into a class at Medunsa.
Then Medunsa.
Then Medunsa.
Sabc or Makhat.
Yes, as a first-year BSc student.
Take me back a little bit to what led to you leaving SABC at the time. Was it those forced difficulties within the working environment, or it was just you saying, it's time now?
There were many other difficulties. There were there were other difficulties. At the SAPC. But the main driving force was the restlessness that I had within. I had no peace. I had no peace, so much so that I could not watch, a film about doctors and nurses, hospital situations where people are wearing white lab coats and so on. I couldn't, it would haunt me, it would torture me.
What?
Yeah, that's how severe it was. I would walk in town or elsewhere, and I would see a board, maybe at the doctor's room, the Dr.
Swanepoel.
Dr. F. Swanepoel, MBCHP Pretoria. I would stand there maybe for 5 to 10 minutes just admiring this little boat.
That MBCHP.
Yes, that MB. And I vowed, and I said to myself, it's not going to happen. I just will not accept death before I have that DR thing next.
And that MBCHP.
No.
Yes.
That was, I said I would pull all the stops. I would move, I would climb any mountain. You bring Kilimanjaro, you bring Mount Everest, I would climb them for that MBCHP.
Do you know what was the burning force? What was the reason for this unshakable desire to become a doctor? Because clearly it sounds like something that started from when you were still a child.
Among the things that really bothered me when I was a child was when my grandmother, you will remember I said, earlier, or in the earlier recordings, in our family, there were two weaklings. It was myself and my grandmother. My grandmother was extremely sickly. Now, you live in a family where the heads of the family is your grandmother and your grandfather, and now my grandmother is now the mother figure, because my mother was somewhere, minding her own business as a domestic worker. Now, my grandmother, 2 out of 3 days we come back from school, and my mother would be lying in bed sick. She would complain of a headache. Now, I'm a child, and I'm a child, and, I'm the eldest in the family. Tiny as I was, I had my younger brother and my cousin, who both of them were 2 years younger than me. And I would stand there in front at the bedside of my grandmother looking at her. And I would ask her, Oma, what's wrong? She tell me, my child, I'm ill, I'm not well. I have a terrible headache, and, I would cry, and it would bother me, that, but what is it? What is it that I can do to make, because whilst now she's ill, what would really bother me and eat me was that, one day, my grandmother will go to bed and she won't wake up. And now there was this fear factor now, then what was going to happen to us? And I really, at that tiny age, I really wished and I don't know if I was able to pray, but with a childish prayer, and say to God, what is it that can be done for my grandmother, for her to be better? But then, while she's ill, then I will also take ill, and then now she must come and look after me.
Yes,
I would cough and cough and cough. My grandmother will grab a bench. You didn't have chairs in the house, benches, where wooden bench, and she would sit next to where I was lying, and then I would cough. And I'm telling myself, maybe she was sitting there to see when I take my last breath. But now, illness was our middle name in that family. It was my grandmother. Now, fortunately, my grandfather, my grandfather was the workhorse. He, for all the years that I've known him, I don't remember a single day where he even complained of a headache.
He was a strong man.
A perpetual motion machine.
Sure.
He would just go on and on and on and on. Maybe he was very good in masking his discomfort, but I don't know, somehow or another, I always picked it up.
When he wasn't 100%.
I was very young, but I could always, he had wrinkles in his face, and the wrinkles would become worse, when he's not well. And he would, and his pace, when he does things, he would slow down, and he would bend over forward, and then I know that the old man is not okay.
Wow.
But I wouldn't tell Jacob and Leslie that, Oupa is not all right today. It was just my own. Those are the things that haunted me. Maybe to answer your question, those are the things that prompted me that, I wanted to know. And when she eventually then passed on, it was a big blow in the family. It was a big blow in the family because she went on, I think it was on the 29th of July, 1971, when she passed on.
Wow.
Now, as if that was not enough, there was a split in the family.
Oh, no.
And all the family members turned their back against the old man.
Oupa.
And I refused when my mother also came from where she came from and said, we must, Ronnie, you must pack your things. I said, pack my things. Kanti, what's going on now? I said, no, we are leaving. Leaving? To where? No, you are going with me, you and your brother, come. Because now there were 3 boys, like I said, it's me and my younger brother. Now my mother came, she wanted to take me and Jacob, and my aunt also came and took Leslie. They had already left, and my mother was still there, trying to sort me out because I turned out now to be stubborn. I'm not going anywhere.
You needed sorting out.
I needed sorting out, and fortunately for me, it was already now getting dark and darker, and then I said to her, no, I'm not going. Then I could see her talking to her friends. They came by car with some of her colleagues from the urban areas. Then I could see that, they were plotting something.
To steal you.
To steal me. Then I said, these people, and I was young and weak. I said, hey, Mo, these people are going to bundle me up and, tie me up. And and then under the cover of darkness, fortunately there's no electricity. There's no electricity, it was completely dark. Under the cover of darkness, I ran away.
And the terrain.
I knew the terrain, yes. I knew that they were not going to trick me, they were not going to find me. Under the cover of darkness, I ran away, and I hid myself somewhere watching them, walking around with torches and flipping phone with, where is he? Said, no, you're not going to find me. And until eventually they left. But I didn't trust that they had all left. Said, no, maybe one or said, maybe they're just disguising. They took their car and said, okay, let's pretend that we are leaving. And
when he comes back.
Yeah. Then I said, maybe there's somebody hiding there in the house. And then but that night, then I slept under a tree.
Yeah.
And mind you, it was in July.
This sickly, skinny little boy.
Yes, I slept under a tree.
You were quite determined that you were not leaving. What really kept you there? What was the reason for wanting to stick it out with the old man?
I felt it was the right thing to do. I mean, this was the man who stood with us through thick and thin. And I'm not going to turn my back on him now. It was just the right thing to do, And this was the home I knew, Ngulelela. I've never known any other home. This is this is our home.
Yeah.
Despite, all the poverty, but this was the home that I knew. Yes, and I wasn't going to leave it without the permission of Oupa.
help us understand the dynamics that led to the split. It was you, the cousins, and the younger brother. The cousin and the younger brother. Three boys.
Yes, it was me or in the family.
The dynamics that led to the split. Because I'm trying to understand that they were saying now, there's no female to look after this household or these kids. So let's take them and see umkhulu one. What were the dynamics that led to that?
Yeah,
friction?
well, they said umkhulu is not our real grandfather, is our step grandfather. Then I said, to me, what difference does it make to me? I've never known that before. And even if I know it now, it's not going to make any difference. Mm-hmm. Whether he is step or he's not step or he's unstep, to me, it doesn't really matter. All I knew was this is the man who stood by us through thick and thin. This is the man who would wake up in the morning to go and do whatever, DIY jobs in the village. Because... my old man, William Masilela, that old man was the trusted DIY person in the village. Mm-hmm. That man could do anything and everything.
Yeah.
That man was a person, I think he was the first person in the village who could who could put together a tombstone. That man was the trusted builder. The other day, I went to the village. Maybe I must take you there, you and Linda, to go and show you a school that was built by my old man in 1966.
That's amazing.
The first school in that village was built by him. He was the foreman. He was the main builder. Others were assisting him because he worked so hard, despite the fact that he had a defective left hand. And then he built a school, the first school in the village, and that school is still standing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's still standing. So now he was a builder, he was a welder, he could do fences for people, he could repair broken stuff, he was a tailor. Multi-skilled, and people brought broken things to our place, and he would fix them. People would ask him to build their house. But what broke my heart was that is when I would hear him tell Gogo that so-and-so was owing him money and they did not. And they were not paying him, for services rendered. So now, but the fact, to answer your question was, that's the answer I got from my mother when I asked, now you say you're taking us away. Why do you want to take us away? I said, no, but Ronnie, Uber is your stiff Uber. It's not it, but you're telling me this thing now. It doesn't matter. And then she said, no, Ronnie, you're becoming cheeky. And maybe I was cheeky. But for the first time, I had to be cheeky because I was just trying to defend what was right. And I think that thing that my grandfather was our step-grandfather. And even the surname that I'm carrying even today.
It's still his.
Yeah, and I don't mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
But where was your dad? Because he's the old man. He's umkhulu.
Yeah.
Where's daddy?
Maybe, thank you for asking me that because I need to correct something which I said in the earlier record. Now, my mother, always during her visits, I would ask her, Mom, but who is my father and where is he? And then, she would become emotional whenever I touched that part of the story. She didn't want, but I managed eventually. Though I didn't say this, in the last recording when you asked me. But the truth of the matter is, she eventually told me the surname of my father, of my real father. But she did not want to tell me what happened. And she told me that he is a certain person, and she told me the surname from Arabiani. So I know that he was a Tswana from Marapiani. I know the surname, and I'm not going to say.
It's okay.
Yeah, so no, but I know that he was a Tswana from Marapiani.
And you never tried to
No.
look for this man or this family?
No.
Yeah.
I never.
Yeah. And what was the reason for that? Was that you were right? Because sometimes there's a void that young people are trying to fill. They
No, I mean, I had Umkhulu and I had Dr. Robertson. Though it was not very ideal, not 100%, but I felt I'm not going to look for a person who's not looking for me. I don't think it was my duty to look for him. I think the duty, was his to look for me. And he didn't do it, and I wasn't going to do his work for him.
No.
Yeah.
His fatherly duty.
Yes. Yeah. So now I have my grandfather here, and my grandfather, whenever he's been given an assignment, I would be his right hand. The schools that he built, and the houses that he built. Some of the houses in the village, when I drive around, I still see them. They're still standing.
Amazing, eh?
Yeah, the tombstones. He was. When you go to the cemetery in Pieterskraal, there are tombstones that still have his mark, because he was the first person who could make tombstones in the village, and those tombstones are still there. You go there now, they look very dilapidated, old-fashioned, because
of course,
with time people came and put better tombstones. Granite, but and these ones are still standing there, very humble in humility. Still standing.
Incredible, eh?
So now, the split in the family was as a result of that.
Yeah. And at some point, as you alluded, you meet a certain doctor that further encourages this.
That further, very, very correct.
Yes.
God is so good because of the fact that I was so sickly and my grandmother was so sickly. With time in this new village where we arrived in this village in 1963. And I think it was in 1964 when there was a mobile clinic from Philadelphia. There was this mobile clinic where doctors would come and do an outreach, to the rural, to the villages in the area. And our turn was to have a doctor every Tuesday. The doctor would come, and his first port of call would be Machiding. There's a village just before you reach Pieterskraal on your way from Philadelphia. The doctor would go to Machiding, and then after Machiding it would be our village, Pieterskraal, and then I think after our Pieterskraal it would be Majakaneng. So now that was the outreach program, organized by the doctors at Philadelphia, to bring health services to
closer,
to villages. And now we knew that every Tuesday a doctor would come at about 10 o'clock. And my grandmother took me to that clinic every
Tuesday.
Every Tuesday,
yeah.
To be seen. And with time, there were different doctors that came. There was Dr. Divet, there was Dr. Maretz, there was Dr. Tron, there was Dr. Rose, there was Dr. Divet, and then there was Dr. Stoffbeck, but he would never do outreach. He was the superintendent of the hospital.
Okay.
But now these doctors, young doctors at the time, and they rotated. But, with time, then we noticed that Dr. Robertson there was this doctor who would come more often than others. Maybe it was God's plan then at the time. And then for one or the other reason, this doctor just began to like me. Yeah, just began to like me, and every Tuesday, when he comes...
You're a regular client.
I was a regular client, and then I also knew every Tuesday it was time for me to get sweets. He would come and bring me sweets, because he would come with his little Volkswagen, he used the Volkswagen, Bentley, TCA 6454.
You still remember the registration number? That makes no sense. You were a kid.
Yeah.
What?
So he would come, in his little Volkswagen, blue Volkswagen with that registration.
Yeah.
And then you would stop under a tree and you would... Now, my grandmother would always be very strategic. She knew it was time for me to get sweets, and then he would come and park, and then we'd be sitting there and he would call me, Ephraim, that's my other name.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would run to the car. Yeah, here it is, and then he would give me my sweets. And later on, then we are in the queue, and then he would give us our treatment. And then so it happened.
Yeah.
It happened then that in... It happened in 1965. It happened in 1965, towards June. He started negotiating with my grandmother, and then he said, I want Ephraim to come and visit me, to spend time with me, during the June holidays. And I remember, and that evening, my grandparents sat there with me and they sat me down and gave me instructions on how to behave. It was now Monday. The doctor was going to come on Tuesday. And then when he goes back to Philadelphia, I would go with him.
Yeah.
It looked very strange, and it took me. And then arrived in casualty. And once we arrived in casualty, his wife came. She was a nurse at the hospital. She came to welcome her husband back. Then the husband introduced me to her. They took me to their house, to their home, introduced me to Alfred Tate Pasha.
Your mom was there?
Yeah, he was now the housekeeper.
Okay.
Yeah, and the one who was preparing food and managing the house. Introduced me to Alfred. And and that's how...
That's 60 years ago. What blows me away about it is how sharp your mind is. It's 65. It's 1965. It's 61 to be more precise.
It was it was June 65.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible, eh? Did that leave a lasting impression on you? That experience, that visit?
It left an indelible mark on me. It was a lasting experience. It was something. It was a turning point of so many things. It was actually the turning point of history in my life. It was a turning point of my history because after that visit, it became regular, and the bond between myself and Dr. Robertson just became stronger and stronger. And he became very much part of my life, and eventually he's the one who took over from my grandparents.
Wow.
And paid my school fees. And there was also a time when I had to leave our village to go nearer him where he was in Philadelphia, because the school where in our village, our school could no longer cater for us. Remember, we were the first group to attend school.
I remember. You were the first to arrive in the village.
Yes.
That village was built essentially by you guys as the first group.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So now and then...
there was a time when there was no school at all for a number of years.
No, it's only for 1 year.
Yes.
Yeah. We remember, we arrived in that... We left Jackalstans, where we were... in 1963, arrived in this new place in 63, and for the whole of 1963 there was no school.
And there was also no buildings.
There was nothing.
There was nothing. It was empty piece of land.
It was just trees. That place was so bushy. The first thing that we had to do was to make the place habitable, to chop down trees. To make, to be able to, to make the place, habitable.
That's crazy.
It was, in the middle of nowhere, there was nothing.
Because, it's easy for you to say we arrived there. We imagining houses.
No, there was nothing.
Nothing at all. That was the forced removals that a lot of people experienced in South Africa.
Yes, no, we were forcibly removed because when we had to leave our place in Jackalstans, because Jackalstans, that's where when my mind started, my eyes were beginning to open, we were in Jackalstans. I don't know any other place other than Jackalstans. And when when the news started spreading and becoming stronger and stronger that we are going to leave.
But in Yaham.
But it's Yaham. And then I started querying. Then I asked my grandparents, and I asked my grandmother. Yeah, because my grandfather was always busy, but now, you could always talk to. Then I said, oh, man, no, man, I don't understand. You say you are leaving this place. Why are we leaving? Then he's telling me that the government. Then...
It was the early 60s.
Yeah, it's 61, 62. Said, no, he said, the government is saying, said, but who's this person called the government? The government is... this government now umkhulu. Is he afraid of this person called the government?
Umkhulu is a strong man.
Umkhulu is a strong man. I would expect Umkhulu to tell this person, no, Tina, this is our home, we're not going anywhere.
Yes. Comrade,
yes, no. As far as I know, there's nothing that's food too difficult for my grandfather. Then I asked Uma, but Umkhulu, is Umkhulu, did Umkhulu agree? He said, yes, he agreed. Said, how is this possible? How can Umkhulu agree? Is he afraid of this person called the government? Yeah. Then I started hating, said, no man, I want to know, who is this person? Umuntu onjani lo such Umkhulu wami? No man, this hey man, then I started becoming worried. There is a person
who's bigger, stronger,
and this person is called the government. I don't know. Then I asked him, uhlala, but uhlale Pitori. Where's Pretoria? So Pretoria is a place far away. But this person will tell Pretoria. When he started, no man, I want to know Pretoria. I wanted to know, and every time when somebody mentions Pretoria, these people are going where this person is staying. Maybe I must go with them and go and approach this person.
The government.
Yeah, this person called the government.
Wow.
Then I started hating that person. No, man, this person, no, man.
Trust me, he was worth hating. He was horrible. He was horrible.
He was horrible.
Yes.
And then eventually, it so happened now, the beginning of 1963, then the trucks started moving into the village. Now, remember, before this thing, that was a village. And then, in a village, to see a motor vehicle was a rarity. You would rarely, maybe vigilia pelu ngabonangi moto.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden there are now 20, 30, 40 trucks all at the same time. Every day moving in and out. There was dust. Every time there was dust because the trucks were moving up and down, removing people.
What?
And
moving you?
Yeah, I said, no, but... Then Oma said, yeah, you might be ready. Very soon our turn will also come, these trucks. And so it happened. One day, on that particular day, my grandfather was away for the whole day. And I remember him coming home at about 1 or so, very tired, on his bicycle. And, he came. And a few minutes after he arrived, 2 trucks followed him.
Oh.
Then they parked in the area. And I said, and one of the drivers was speaking in Zulu. Yeah, skala ngale. Yeah.
Company.
Huh? No, kombi truck.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, squalisa le nakal.
Yeah.
Said, now it was a truck, and every truck had a driver and 2 assistants assisting the driver. Now they're the ones who, then they started removing stuff now out of the house now. Said,
it's happening.
This is happening, and it was the first time that I experienced something like that. And
I remember the story of the drive to nowhere, where it was just dark, in the darkness of night. You're traveling to a place you don't even know.
Yeah. Now, remember, it's around about 2 in the afternoon, and people are pulling down things, loading them on these 2 trucks. And they finished now, just after sunset, and I could see my grandfather walking around the yard. Now what used to be a house now is just It's just all standing there, broken and, dilapidated. And all our stuff, was now loaded on the 2 trucks. And now it was beginning to get dark. And now, my grandparents now in 1 truck, in the front seat with the driver. And then in the next truck, during that time, my mother's youngest brother, Uamans, he was staying with us, and he got onto the other truck, and then we, the youngsters, they made a space nyana for us, at the back of one of the trucks. It was already, just beginning to get dark now, and then the truck started moving slowly. And I remember that moment so vividly, and now that was the long drive into the unknown. And I looked, it was as if, this was a bad dream.
Yeah.
As we were now, turning our backs, leaving Jackal Stance. And, at that moment, Jackal Stance, we drove away, the trucks moving slowly into the darkness, into the unknown. And then the next chapter of our life was beginning. A chapter was closing, and a new chapter had just begun.
Yeah.
And then we drove into the cover of darkness.
In the arrival is also just as dramatic, because you arrive nowhere, the middle of nothing, and they offload and drive off. And there you are.
Yeah, now we drove, I think, for the whole night. The whole night now we were driving. And then I think somewhere in the middle of the night, I think maybe we stopped over somewhere, because I remember I was half asleep, half drunk, and I could see it. But I think we had stopped at a filling station. Maybe they were getting diesel for the trucks or something. But we arrived at our destination. I think it was at about 4 a.m, this new place. And we continued to wait until, it was getting better. And just before sunset,
sunrise. Yes.
Sunrise, now our things are beginning to be offloaded. They were there in a heap, and now and then they had a short meeting with my grandparents. They gave them something, papers to sign, and then off they went. And I felt very sad now to see these 2 trucks leaving, because now this was the only link that was left, between us and Jackal Stance and
in the previous chapter.
And the previous chapter.
What? So you've just arrived, empty piece of land. Tell us the first day. Tell us about that first day. What happens?
The first day now, we are in this new place. The trucks both have left. It's now in this strange place. It's the family is there. My grandmother, my grandfather, Uamans, myself, and Leslie and Jacob. Now we need to figure out our life. The first thing that needs to happen, we need water. Now, my grandparents said we must look around to see who are our neighbors. Then we look around for smoke to see where smoke is coming from in this dense bush. Then we saw that, it looks like there is a shack, a few meters away. And then we went to them and we asked where we could get water. They told us that there was a place where we could get water. There was a pump, a pump used by the entire community.
Okay.
We go there and we queue, and everybody must wait for their turn. Yes, yes, yes. And then we managed to get water from our neighbors, and wood was plenty.
Of course,
it was a bush, and we arranged a fire, sat around the fire with the water that we got from our neighbors.
No shelter?
No shelter, nothing. Our belongings are there, in a pile. 2 piles, just, belongings. And there's no roof. And then now grandmother is now preparing breakfast. She prepared, something, like, scones for us. She baked something before we left. Now it's black tea, we sit around the fire, having our tea, having, with those scones, and we're having our breakfast. After breakfast, now, the first thing, we need a roof over our head. Now, my grandfather, Onwamans and myself, now my grandfather will show us where we're going to put up a shack. An umkuku now, which we are going to call home, so that we can have a roof over our head. Yeah, and then my grandfather took the necessary measurements, and he told us where to dig holes. A hole maybe something like 1.5 foot deep. Then he took the strongest poles from what we have from our belongings to plant those poles. He would put some dark stuff, at the bottom of the pole, so that it does not,
it doesn't rot quickly.
And then, and plant it there, and then we strengthen it, and then now that would form now the 4 pillars of the 4 corners of the shack.
This is happening on day one.
On day one, on day one, and on day one, and then we'll take the corrugated iron amazenge, and yes, it's a kokotela manje, kokotela, and I think by 2 o'clock that afternoon, a shack was standing. We
must all remember his skills, eh? He's a skilled man.
Yeah, the shack was nicely divided into 2 sections. It was a section, which was the main bedroom now, for my grandparents, and the other section was now for us, for my aunts and the kids, and that was also the kitchen. Yeah, and then that's where we spent.
Amazing.
That evening, we made a fire once again, now to prepare, supper. But I could see that my grandfather was extremely, extremely exhausted. Wamans was still young. I think he was 23 at the time. He was 23. He was a very strong man and a very good right hand. And and then we had our supper, and the atmosphere. You said, day one, that's... Now, that first evening, around that fire, the first shack, day one, the atmosphere was very strange. It was very solemn. Usually we are very jolly around the fire. Either my grandmother or my grandfather would tell a story and their experiences. My grandfather spent most of his time in Boksburg.
Okay.
Every time I drive around Boksburg, I asked myself which of these buildings were built by him. I always ask myself, Boksburg was his favorite place. He spent most of his time. And he would tell us about stories that happened in Boksburg and his friends and so on. But that evening he was quiet, and we understood.
What did you understand?
We understood that he was exhausted, to put that shack together. It was a big job.
That had to be done in a set amount of time.
Yes. Otherwise, we were not going to have a roof over our heads that night.
Yeah.
But because of his hard work and woman's, and also we, the young boys, also helping, so here and there, bringing amazenge to them, said, we want that one, the 12-foot one, the 10-feet one, this corrugated iron, is number size. I could hear my father talking about a 12-foot, that one, this very long corrugated iron, the ones, that run all the way, is a 12-foot, then there's a 10-foot, then there is an 8-foot, then there are the shorter ones, the 6-foot. Yeah.
You got involved in all of that so young as a kid.
Yeah.
You had to clearly realize even then the responsibility of a man in the household.
No, absolutely, because, what happened, recently after our arrival, a few months after our arrival in this place, then Hans decided to leave.
Yeah.
Now, with his departure, then it put now a heavy load on me, because now my grandfather would look to me now as an assistant, as a right hand. Meanwhile, when Hans was around, he was my grandfather's right hand, and I would be there in the background, to assist. I would be the runner. They would send me, to run. Ronnie, bring us that hammer there. Bring us that thing. Then I would run around, and they would be the ones who do all the the hard work. Yeah. I was less involved in hard work when Hans, but after his departure, then I asked, then why was Hans leaving? Then my grandmother said, no. Well, my uncle wanted to go and start his own life. He's now also a grown man. Now he needs to go and start his own life in the urban areas. Mm-hmm. And that's how he left.
I want to fast forward to medicine.
Yeah.
I want to fast forward to the enrollment, the challenges, and the time at Medunsa. Take us back to that.
Now, after many years, then, I find myself now at SABC, mm-hmm. Now I'm at SABC now, because prior to that, I had to be in and out of school working in the mines, because once I passed grade 12, and then Dr. Robertson started to take a back seat.
Okay.
And then I had to fend for myself, and then I think the problem was the problem was now the metric issue. I did not write my metric during the uprising.
70, yes.
Yeah,
mid-70s.
Yeah, 1976, when the uprising started, I was in what was then called Form 4, which is now called grade 11. Mm-hmm. And then in 77, I was supposed to do grade 12. And in grade 12, I didn't write the exams because of the uprisings. Mm-hmm. And it looks like it did not go down too well with the family. And then they took a back seat. So I took I wrote my metric as a part-time student.
Okay.
Yeah, but then after that, I wrote my metric, and I then went to to TEF, where I was excluded because of finances. But then I was unemployed, and I did not have a job. I was not at varsity. Mm. Then I was extremely frustrated.
You were a loafer in apartheid terminology.
And I was a loafer. And remember, during apartheid, you got arrested for loafers.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, but to get to your question, and then eventually I managed to get this job at SABC, where I started on the 1st of September. 1st of September, and I worked there, and to me it was a great honor, it was a privilege, it was a dream come true. I knew that at some point I was going to be, a commentator. And then, for me to work amongst my heroes. Remember, the only form of entertainment, not the only form, there were many forms of entertainment, but there was no TV at the time. Radio was the main, it played a major role in a form of entertainment. And radio presenters at the time were regarded in very high esteem. They were heroes.
Uthini kanti ngathi manje awu namanje basathatha sira.
No, you are trying. You guys are trying.
We are trying. No, I fully understand.
No.
There was
you
a time when radio presenters were rock stars and the biggest heroes in our community.
David, the thing is, you guys compete with TV. We competed only with the newspapers. Mm-hmm. We only had the newspapers to contend with, but we entertained people who were there, and Abo Masumbuga. Masumbuga was we knew that a weekend without Masumbuga is no weekend.
Sure.
Friday or Saturday morning, you would take your battery from your FM, from your radio, put it in the sun so that it can recharge. So that, when come 3 o'clock, when Masumbuga calls now from Orlando Stadium, the streets would be empty. people want to listen to Elijah Teta Masumbu. New Year Eve, then people knew that we want to Sulalele Mfana Senkwezela, Joshua Mlaba, and Saturday morning, it was time as Amapung Namajeji, Elijah Teta Masumbu. Now, for me to work amongst those honorable men and women, the only lady was Mamuini. But for me, to be counted amongst them, it took time to sink. No, it took time. And but then what I said earlier on was this medicine thing that I couldn't get over. And I knew that I was not going to die and I was not going to accept death. And it's not a joke. I was serious that I was not going to compromise, because I thought, I am in this life to be a doctor, and then and nothing else, and otherwise it was not going to happen. And
did you pass well enough? Because remember, you not just any random David Mashabela will be admitted at a medical school. You had to pass in a particular way.
I was very confident. I remember when Jack Lekala admitted me to do my grade 12 at Mamelodi High. Mm-hmm. Remember, I was from KZN. Where I did my grade 11, and because of the riots, I did not, and because I was I still owe the school some money. I did not have my report, my final year, my end of the year report. So now Dr. Robertson negotiated with Mr. Lekala to admit me
in Mamelodi.
In Mamelodi to do Form 5, and there were conditions, But to cut a long story short, I had a very good run, because when I started, Mr. Lekala said to me I was Form 4 material, and he would try me in Form 5, that is in grade 12 for 2 months. And if I do well, I would stay in grade 12. But if I don't do well, he was going to demote me. And I said, I said to him, it's okay, Munir. And that was a condition, because I did not have any proof that I had passed.
True.
Right.
The only proof was the white man saying, here's my guy.
Yes, he trusted Dr. Robertson, because Dr. Robertson came with a story. Dr. Robertson was extremely intelligent. And moreover, Umlungu is always right. So now, after a month or so, and then the principal called me. Because I remember, when I went to Mamelodi High, it was the 16th of February, 1977, and the schools reopened on the 18th of January. I was already a month late. And they are preparing for their first cycle test. So after 2-3 weeks, when I remember you are late, and already we are preparing for a cycle test.
You're late, and they're saying you must go to matric.
Yes.
And Aunama Pep.
I said, no, okay, no problem. Oh, gonna test. No, fine. All right. And then we wrote, and I think we were in that class. I think the grade 12 students, I think we were about 125 or so. And half the class was doing Ilukuzani maths. I think in maths we were about 55 or so.
Okay.
Yeah, but out of the 125, I think I got position 10.
Jeez.
I got position 10, and I think I was in the top 5 when it comes to maths and so on.
So you qualified now?
Yeah. Now and then Jack Lekala, our principal, then called me. Mushiman, akere wa gopola hore kerile la nna mo Form 5 di kgwedi tse pedi ya titi ya mener ke na nya khombola mener kutino You said, meneer, 2 months. Then after that, meneer will take a decision whether to take me back to Form 4. Yeah, bona Mushiman, I'm happy with your performance. I said to him, no, meneer, 2 months I see film. He said, 2 months. He said, Mushiman, principal.
Yes.
I'm the principal. Is when? Yeah, okay, meneer, okay, fine. Yeah, okay, no, so now you can stay in Form 5 now.
Yes.
Can stay, but bona Mushiman, I've not been having distinctions in this school now for a very long time.
Really?
I'm now coming to your question, Rore. Did I qualify to go in?
Yes.
Then he said to me, then he started putting pressure on me now to give him good marks.
Yeah. From that kid that he was not sure.
Yes, he said.
Now,
he said to me, Masilela, from you, I'm expecting a distinction.
Sure.
For what did Mr. Lekala see, I don't know, but he wanted me to do well and produce very good. Then I told him. Then towards the end of the year, somewhere in August, he called me. Masilela, so how are your preparations going? Distinction, am I going to get my distinction?
Oh.
Wow. How will your results look like? Meneer, I don't know if this will make you happy, but hey, meneer, the way my preparations went, I think I can pull 3 A's, meneer. I think I can give you an A in maths.
Jesus.
I think I can give you an A in biology. I think I can give you another A in Afrikaans. Yeah, meneer, physics, I'm struggling a bit with chemistry.
Yeah.
So now, but the physics part of it, I'm comfortable, but chemistry, no, I'm not very comfortable. I think there, meneer, I can give you a B. I can give you a B in English, I can give you a B in English, I can give you a B. In physics.
Yes, in languages. What other languages were you doing?
Zulu.
Zulu, yes.
Yeah, and then I think, in Zulu, meneer, Zulu is very broad. I think maybe in Zulu I can get a C, but I'll give you maybe 3 A's, and I give you 2 B's, meneer, and I'll give you a C.
Okay, he's a confident young man.
But now, unfortunately, then our exams were disrupted.
Oh, no.
And so the exams were disrupted, by the riots. And I had now to go back to Impala, where I was working, Impala Platinum. And then I did my matric now as a part-time student.
Long days.
And that brought my marks down.
Yeah.
However, but I still qualified, to do BSc at the University of the North.
Okay.
Yeah. And
that's where you went. You couldn't stay long because of money.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then radio yakala again.
Now, then I dropped out because, I paid the registration fee at TEF for the first year. It was 250 rands, which I paid. But then I could not pay the rest of the money. And then I came back the following year, and then I paid, by then the money, the fees increased. The registration was 300, I paid the 300, and I didn't pay the rest of the money. And somewhere in August, they called me. They told me that, Wena, you think you are clever. Last year you paid 250. You didn't pay the rest, and this year you paid 300. So where is our money? I said, I don't have money. They said, we can't keep you. Then I was asked to leave. And then,
That's a sad.
And then I started looking for a job now in Pretoria. I started looking for a job, and it was a huge struggle until I found SABC, and then
the rest is history, as they say.
And the rest is history. Yeah.
Wow.
So now I stayed at SABC, and then, but as I'm saying, I wanted to be a doctor, and in 1992, that is now after serving, for 10 years, I had to leave SABC.
How old were you around that time when you were registering for medicine?
1992. I was 38 years old.
Didn't you feel the burden of old age? In academic, language, we expect you to enroll university quite early on in your life. Did you feel, maybe I'm a little late, but I will still do it?
I was ready to give it my best shot.
Irrespective.
Yeah, irrespective of whatever. I said, I will die with my boots on. I was ready to face whatever challenge, as long as it was a challenge that was leading me towards my dream. I was ready for it.
And your life had advanced slightly, I imagine, in terms of building a household, all of that. What was where were you in that regard?
Now remember now I came to SABC, it was 1982. I was still single at the time, a young boy now from Pretoria, and I came and SABC. I am grateful to SABC in a sense that, SABC gave me a name. Today Ronnie Masilela is known. SABC gave me a platform to display my other, gifts, and to work as a radio presenter, as a commentator, to show my other God-given talents. And then when I started at SABC, my first salary was about 400 rands. And then a few years down the line, and then I got married. And then got married in 1986, 11th of January. Lady Smith Black Mambazo were there.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were a big deal. You had Lady Smith Black Mambazo at your wedding. I didn't know this detail.
Yes. I had Lady Smith Black Mambazo at my wedding.
To Joseph Shabalala.
But Joe was my friend, and it was very dramatic how he came. It was very dramatic.
Wow.
Because I made arrangements with them as early as October. And then thereafter we didn't have any contact, and I didn't know that they were coming. It was a surprise.
Wow.
It was a surprise when they rocked up, that morning. I nearly collapsed when I saw the Kumbi, Lady Smith Black Mambazo, arriving, and then, And
you were a big deal. To have a life like Lady Smith Black Mambazo sang at my wedding.
Yes.
You have pictures, of course. That's amazing.
So now, then we got married, and God blessed us with a daughter later on. And but then, despite all that, my life was beginning to gain shape.
Like a normal adult life.
Yes, because now I'm at SABC. In 1987, we got a house. On the 6th of April. 1986, we moved into our first house in Protea North. Now at least we've got a house. That was a major milestone.
Of course, yes.
And subsidized by the SABC. And then that was now in April of that. Actually, it was 1987. Yeah, because we got married in 86. And so 87, there were major developments in our life. On the 6th of April, we moved into our house. And on the 15th of April, on the 15th of August. On the 15th of August that year, God blessed us with a car. It was a Toyota Cressida. Now we've got a house, you've got a car.
Cressida.
Life is beginning
Cressida is a luxury car.
It was the luxury GL, Morel.
You were the hottest guy in the street.
Yeah, a white one, JPF 291.
Registration number is still there. What? You were driving a Cressida.
Yeah.
We regarded those who drove Cressidas in the 80s as rich people.
No, but it was not new.
It
was pre-owned.
It was new to you.
To me, it was new. 100%. I never owned a car because I wanted a Toyota because most of the vehicles at SABC were Toyota Corollas, and
yes.
I really thought I was going to get a similar car to the ones that I got used to at SABC.
Yeah.
But then we got this
upgrade.
Yeah, upgrade. But then I had to leave all that and go to Medunsa to go and pursue my dream.
When you say leave all that, what does that mean?
that means now leaving my salary behind.
Oh, yeah.
Living,
and that's paying for these things.
Yes. Now, SABC gave me a life. They gave me one may think, that 400 rand at the time, was not much, but for me it was a lot of money.
It bought you a Cressida.
Yeah, it bought me a Cressida. It bought me a house. Now I'm having a family. I've got a house. I've got a car, and then I'm guaranteed a salary the end of every month. That's not a kind of salary where that can make you rich. But at the same time, you won't starve. You are able to put food on the table.
That's true.
Now that is, relatively speaking, from where I came from, that was a comfortable life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if I say I had to leave all that behind, I mean that comfortable life of getting a salary every month, to
had
pay.
To stop.
Now that had to stop, and a few months before I left SABC, I lost weight. I'm sure I lost something more, plus minus 5 kg.
Why?
I was worried.
In anticipation. You were worried before it happened.
Yes, I was worried because I could foresee that, it was not going to be easy. I could foresee that it was not going to be easy.
That's amazing.
But I was ready, because I said to my wife that, okay, now I needed to go. And she said, okay, but pay off the house.
At least.
Yeah, pay off the house. And then we tried, to make loans so here and there, and, to pay off the house.
At least whatever happens, we're not going to lose a home.
We're not going to lose a home. So I paid off the house, and and then that was a condition that once we don't owe the house, and then I could go to school.
Did you have any source of income during your time while you were studying? Because you have to look after a household.
There was nothing.
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing.
What happened? Did your mama keep it going?
She kept going. She was a nursing sister at Bara. Yeah, and we had to rely entirely on her salary. But we knew that the burden of having to pay for the house, at least, it was not completely paid off, but I think we paid something like 3/4.
Okay.
That's what I could afford. And then she would remain with that 1/4, try and pay it off, with her, with her little salary. But it was tough. It was never enough.
No, of course.
It was not enough. Yeah.
And now you have to pay for this new little baby called you.
Yebo.
Because you're a child in the system now.
Exactly.
You bring nothing, and yet we are
Yeah, because the only thing was maybe for the first 2 to 3 years. For the first 2 to 3 years, may his soul rest in peace, Mr. Kehlazwani gave me, part-times on TV to do football commentaries, say maybe twice or once a month. And I was very grateful because for every assignment, during those days, we got 700 rand.
Yeah.
And the taxman would come around and take maybe 150, and then you take home is about 550. So this happened maybe, for the first 2-3 years or so, but then it stopped. It stopped. That was the only kind of very unreliable income that I had at the time. But other than that, there was nothing.
Did you have to move to Ga-Rankuwa?
No. I left the family behind because I had to be on campus Monday to Friday. And I only came home during weekends.
So, because my question was, did you have to move to Ga-Rankuwa? Your answer is no. But then you were mostly there. Did you have a place to live and come?
Oh yeah, I mean
so you
to move. Oh yeah, no. I thought you mean moving the family to Ga-Rankuwa.
No. You as a student.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
I had to move to Ga-Rankuwa. I stayed in the res there, Monday to Friday, and come home on weekends. During weekends.
How did you feel as the oldest guy? Eskela, nama first year, nama fresh.
Yeah. The thing is now, I I'm 38 and I'm doing first year.
The average first-year-old is 18.
And they mostly in my class, I'm 18-year-olds, 18, 19. 18, 19. So here and there, 20. Here and there, 21. Njalo. But the majority is 18, 19. And I felt a bit out of place the first few days, because what I did the very first day I sat in class, I always occupy the front seat. During break, and then I stood at the door to look for somebody my age. And then there was at least one guy, a big guy, he turned out to be Mr. Zipho Sviya. I think he was maybe maybe a few years younger than I was, but then he was also a good man. Then I went to him and I called him. I said, Dr. Gunjan. Said, we must look after each other. And now, to make things slightly easier for me, now, word spread very quickly amongst these youngsters now that, we have Ronnie Masilela in our midst here, the famous.
Oh, the famous Ronnie Masilela.
Now, that gave me a little bit of status in the class. And now that status made me forget that I'm out of place. At least, but people want to associate with me. Hey, Praron. Then I became known as Praron. Up until today. If I meet someone, maybe at the shopping mall, and he said, hey, Praron, I know he's a doctor from Medusa. If I meet somebody who says Praron, I know he's a doctor from Medusa. If I meet somebody who says, hey, Ronnie Unjan, then I know he's somebody from Sabc.
That's it. What did they call you, Kumams, when you were there, your time there?
They called me Prof. When I meet somebody and he said Prof, they called me Professor.
How did you get the Prof name?
Well, they said I was a professor of mathematics. Yeah, in Mamelodi I was known as a prof. Yeah, prof, yes. So now when I meet somebody who says prof, I know it's Mamelodi. When said, hey, Ronnie Unjan, no, it must be Sabc. Said, Bra Ronnie, then I know, no, this one is Metunso.
That's amazing.
So now in first year I'm 38. Second year I'm now 39. And I went to one of the professors, Professor Mohotlani, and you said,
I know him well.
May his soul rest.
Yes.
And I said to him, Prof, now, Prof, there's a issue here. You and your team will have to bear with me and be patient with me, because I'm the groot man, I'm old. That's the word I use. Now, Professor Mohotlani, who used to be one of my listeners, apparently he enjoyed my soccer commentaries, and he called me Loni. He said, Loni, what are you saying? I said, no, Prof, what I'm saying is that I'm old, I'm dala. So from time to time, I will stop you when I don't understand something. And please don't feel offended.
It's before he became the principal, because he became principal at some point.
Yeah, it was before he became principal, because by then principal was still Prof. Mukhoko. Because he was the head of anatomy.
Okay.
He was the head of anatomy. He said, Prof, mina ngimdala. Then he stopped me right. He said, when you think umdala, when? How old are you? I said, Prof, I'm 39, and look, I'm only doing second year now. Then he said to me, did you meet Tim? Tim? Which team are you talking about? No, the one with the thick glasses. Oh, lo sevelimpandla kancane. Said, Prof. Tim, I know him. We get along well, but we are not really friends. But I know him very well. Then Prof said, okay, now you think you're old. Said, yes, Prof, I'm old. How old do you think Tim is? Said, Prof, no, I've never asked Tim. I don't know. Said, yeah, Tim is 54 years old.
Yeah.
And Tim was doing 50-year medicine. At 54. Do you still think you're old? 54.
39.
54, Prof. Yeah, Tim is 54 and he's doing his 50 year. Do you still think you're old, Loni? No, Prof. Go and read.
Stop asking for favors.
Stop asking for favors.
Wow.
So, yeah, but there is this thing about university life. age doesn't really matter. No, it doesn't. You mingle, you mix, you share notes, you share ideas, and we accept one another as we are.
Did you have any financial challenges? Because studying for medicine is not a short-term operation. It takes a while.
That was a major problem. In third year, the university wanted to exclude me.
Money again?
Yes, money again. Now, in third year, the admin called me. I'm owing money from first year. Once again, I repeated what I did at TEFLO, where I only pay the deposit, the registration fee.
Yeah.
So in third year, I happened to fail my third year because I quarreled with one of my professors. One of my professors punished me because our daughter was 4 months old. And my wife was ill. She was admitted. I had to look after her Swungile at home. She was only 4 months old, and I couldn't go to school. And during that period, I think they were preparing for a test or something, and one of the professors didn't take too kindly to that. And at the end of the year, he punished me, and I failed my third.
Oh no!
I can tell you his surname. But I'm not going to do that.
We'll talk about it off air.
Yes. And then, so that then led to problems because I'm owing the university money.
And you're a failing student.
Yeah, that's exactly what they said. They said to me, admin called me, the chief administrator called me and told me that, listen, Masilela, you're not passing and you're not paying. What's the point in keeping you here? When we are humble, still with you, and can you please leave so that we can have paying students? And I said to him, okay, it's fine. I'm not promising you that I'm leaving. I'm promising you that I'm going to see the principal. By then, the principal was Professor Mohotlan, and I approached him. I said to him, Prof, man, I'm here, Prof. I've got a few questions to ask you, Prof. The Prof said, Lonnie, what's going on? I said, Prof, I just want to know, man, please tell me. In the past 4 years, Prof, is there any disaster that happened to this university? Prof said, Lonnie, I'm confused. What are you talking about? No, but Prof, I just mean a disaster that really disturbed things and that rendered the university ungovernable or dysfunctional, something like that, a catastrophe to the university. I'm talking about catastrophes, Prof. Did you experience any catastrophe at the university in the past? Fire or something? Prof said, no, Lonnie. Then I said to Prof, yes, Prof, I'm glad to hear about that. I said, why? I said, Prof, yeah, I'm from the administration now. And they are telling me that now I must leave the university because I don't pass and I don't. So I said to them, I'm here, I'll need to talk to you first. But I'm here, Prof, to tell you that I'm going nowhere. Said, why, Lonnie? You're not passing, you're now passing, and you're not making any progress. I said, Prof, you have said it yourself to me that, in the past 4 years, because remember I started in BSc, then I moved into medicine. So now this is now my 4th year. I'm doing 3rd year medicine, but it's my 4th year.
In the system. Yes.
I said, Prof, you have said to me that in the past 4 years you have not experienced any catastrophe. The university has been running well and functioning well. So, Prof, if should I leave now in my having failed 3rd year? There's no way nobody will employ me. I will not get a decent job that will enable me to put food on the table. I will not get a decent job that will help me to put food on the table and at the same time to pay your fees, the outstanding fees. But if you keep me for another 3-4 years, I will live here a doctor, I will have a salary, I will be able to pay you back, and I will be able to put food on the table. So what I'm saying to you is that please keep me here for another 4 years. Nothing will happen to the university because nothing happened in the past 4 years. There's no catastrophe that will happen to the university because you have a non-paying Ronnie Masilela here.
I haven't paid you.
I've not paid you and there was no catastrophe. I will continue not to pay you and you'll still have no catastrophe. So my staying here is not going to disturb the rhythm or anything of the university. Your systems will not collapse. The university will not go up in flames because I'm not paying, because I've not been paying anyway for the... Just keep me. Loni, but uyangihlupha Loni. Said, "Hayi prof, ngizohlupha bani uma ngingahluphi wena." Yeah, keep me, and I will. Nothing will happen to the university.
And he kept you.
He said, "Okay, Loni, let's do this. Maybe as a black child, I owe you an education, but Loni, I don't owe you my food, and I don't owe you accommodation." So, okay, Loni, kulungileke, continue. I will talk to the admin. We are going to keep you, but you are not going to get food from us as a university anymore. You must buy your own food. And you must get your own accommodation. I said, Prof, your accommodation, I don't promise. I don't, and even if I knew somebody, the issue, this meeting is about money, which I don't have. So they kept me. But then now, to come back to your question, then it became difficult. I starved at university because I had to buy a loaf of bread to keep me for a whole week. And life became extremely, extremely difficult.
But where did you stay?
I continued to stay in the res. I had to convince Prof to keep me in the res. But one day, I came back from class and I found that my belongings were outside. They were taken out of the room. And then I went to Metron. The Metron of 5B, where I was staying, was Metron Di Tlhakanyane. She was our matron, and I went to matron, Kantin, what's going on? Hey, Mr. Masilela, the people from admin came and I tried to talk to them and I told them, Khoroena, you have this special arrangement with admin. They must not, they took my things out and they locked the room. They changed the locks, the door locks and so on. And then, so now the negotiations had to start all over again, and it took about a week. So for that week, I slept in the car.
Crescit?
Yeah.
At least it became a bed.
Now my Crescita was my room.
A bedroom, and
the matron helped me in a spare room, a back room. That's where we put all my belongings, and all the essential things that I use on a daily basis were in the boot of the car. So now I would change from the boot of the car. I would say I would stay in the library, until maybe 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And then if I need to sleep, I would go in the Crescita and, flatten the seat and sleep for an hour or two, then wake up very early, and then at least I was not told not to use their facilities, the toilets and the bathroom. Then I would go and have a shower, take clothes from the boot of the car and change and go and attend. It took about a week. And then the SRC also came on board and, and assisted. And, eventually I went back into my room 115 in 5B.
Of course, you will not forget the number. I want to move slightly faster because I worry that we are doing the same episode that we've already done.
Yeah.
You complete your medicine, you practice. What type of practice did you do? GP, to think about specializing? What happened beyond completing your medicine?
I completed my medicine. And on the 7th, I completed my medicine in April 2000. As I've said in the previous episode, 5 to 5 on the 7th. Friday, the 7th of April, I got a message that I passed. I started at Bara on the 17th of April. That was my first day as a doctor at Para. I worked at Para. I did my internship there. That's 2000 until April of 2001. Unfortunately, I continued at Para to do my community service.
Why do you say unfortunately?
And I said fortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, no, because the Para could have said, no, we are done
with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did my ComServe, at Para until 2001. And then I spent most of my time in pediatrics.
Mm-hmm.
And I continued to serve at Para as a community service and as a medical officer.
Mm.
And and I wanted to specialize. But one of my professors told me that I was showing signs of burnout. I needed to go and rest. Rest means now to work at a hospital with less pressure.
Okay.
And then later come back to come and specialize.
Mm-hmm.
I had to push very hard in internship. The internship at Para was extremely, extremely difficult. It was extremely difficult, and in one of the departments, especially the Department of Medicine, I nearly collapsed.
Mm-hmm.
Things really went south for me there. But then one of the professors realized that the ship was sinking. And had it not been for him, that ship would have sunk. It would have been the second Titanic. But then Professor Musa Patel came to the rescue. For reasons that are not very clear to me, there was, I must say, I think there were just people that, in that department who were working against me, who really wanted the ship to sink. That is despite the fact that in other departments, ONG, obstetrics and gynecology, surgery, and I had a very good run. I had a very good run there, but especially in peds, but not in internal medicine. Up until today, it remained my nightmare. But then, cut a long story short, I completed my ComServe and I went to Raima Musa and I worked as a medical officer. But then, after a few years, whilst I was at Raima Musa, they advertised the post, the clinical manager post, to be a superintendent that is second in charge to the CEO. And then I got a post at Raima Musa.
Oh, there, same place.
Yeah. At
a promotion of
it was a huge promotion. Yeah, because I had a very good run at that hospital up until today. It's still one of the hospitals really attached to my heart. Yeah, I worked there as a medical officer and I became superintendent there. And in September, 1st of September 2005, I became the superintendent, the second in charge. And now the whole story now of becoming a pediatrician now took a backseat because now I got caught now in this comfort zone. Said, Mina, now I'm going to be in charge of doctors. That's not what I was expecting of myself. And now God, did wonders for me. And all of a sudden now I'm now a superintendent. I worked as a superintendent, for 3 years, 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008. Then I became an acting CEO of Southend Hospital. And then I went back to Para, as a superintendent again at Para. And then in 2000...
Where you struggled, you come back as the boss.
Now I'm the boss now. And, now I must manage some of the people who gave me a hard time.
Boy, how life works, eh?
And because life is life.
I hope I will keep buying revenge.
I would have loved to teach some people a lesson, but I didn't.
You were well raised.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Though I could have done it. And because the very same two professors and consultants who were nasty to me were still there when I came back as a superintendent. Now, if you're a superintendent at Bara is huge. Bara is massive. You know, now you have, at Bara you have the CEO, and then you have something like 6 superintendents, each one in charge of a discipline. And in that discipline, you are the administrator, you are the superintendent, you work hand in hand with a professor who's the head of department.
Of course, yeah, because it's also academic.
It's also academic.
Yeah,
so now, then I did that, and then in October of 2009, you know, we had a COO at the time, Dr. Rahman. Yeah, Dr. Rahman, you know, he always, where there were fires, he would always send me to these places. And he asked me to go and resuscitate Natal Spirit Hospital. Then Natal Spirit Hospital, there was trouble at the hospital. And I was asked to go and manage the hospital. And I was with a team of about 3-4 other people. We went there and we stabilized the hospital.
Amazing, eh?
Worked at Natal Spirit from...
you became almost a medical doctor, yes, but a lot more had to do with running things and administering.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's answering your question now. You know, I became more of an administrator.
Yes.
Yeah, so from 2005, I was just an administrator, clinical manager, and then became CEO. I was at Natal Spirit from the beginning of November 2009 until the end of March 2012. And then I was asked to go and resuscitate another hospital in KZN, Eddington Hospital.
I know it, yes.
Where I started on the 1st of April 2012. And I stayed there for 2 years. And things didn't go too well there. But I'd rather not say some of these things on air. But you know, most of these things were politically motivated. And I had to come back to Johannesburg. You know, and...
was it another forced removal?
Another forced removal.
Yeah.
Another forced removal. And the first...
This time by people of your skin color?
Yes.
How much?
Yeah, that's now the unfortunate part. Another forced removal by my own so-called people. 1st of August 2013, I started at Heidelberg Hospital. I was the CEO there for 6 years.
I know that means senior administrator.
Yes.
That is senior administrator.
Absolutely.
But it remains the same. It's all government work.
It's government work,
yes,
yeah.
Yes. You've been playing for Bafana for a long, long time.
Absolutely.
You've been working for the nation.
Yes, I work for, I mean, you can imagine serving the nation as a commentator.
And now you're serving the nation as a doctor.
As a doctor, and, you know, managing hospitals. You know, firstly, you know, you start by looking after patients. You know, by managing patients who are people who are not well. Then from there now you have to manage hospitals that are not well. And I managed hospitals for a total of something like 12 years. I was hospital CEO. You know, and and then until I went into retirement. You know, in June of 2019.
At what age was this?
65.
That's why you called it. Were you feeling like it was time, or it was just because that's what the law says?
That's what the law says. But at the time, I was not ready to retire because, you know, I feel I had not worked for the right number of years to accumulate a decent pension. I needed to work more, and I asked for an extension of another 3-4 years, which initially I was promised, but as it turned out, it never materialized.
Okay.
And that then plunged us into financial difficulties. We also tried a business with our little pension money, and the business didn't go too well. And then it took us back, you know, financially. And for those reasons, I had to go back to work.
As a medical doctor?
Yes, as a medical doctor. But all the while all the while, whilst all this was happening, I was studying law.
That's the part that brought us here.
Yes, I was studying law because that was also one field which really interested me, for many, many years.
What is it about law for you? You could have studied engineering.
Yeah, I just loved law. I just loved it. For me, I got fascinated by seeing how advocates debate issues in court. How attorneys do their thing, and I admired them. I admired them, and actually, what actually happened was that during the time when I was a medical officer, I thought I would be a GP, and I thought maybe the degree to have to be able to run a general practice was to have a BCom degree. So I enrolled a BCom law degree, at UNISA, and then I did not do too well in accounting, and then I converted it now to
law,
to LLB, and I continued. Said, okay, now this accounting thing, I will meet it later in life, but for now, let me concentrate on the law part of it. And I continued with LLB. When things did not go too well, and I took it steady, a few courses.
With UNISA, you can pace it well.
I was not in a hurry. But when I realized that now, our financial situation is not what I would love it to be, then I said, no, now I must really fast track this one. And then I learned to and see how life would pan out if I have this dual qualification. So,
amazing. But we have to pause, Masilela, for a second and say you were retired.
Yes.
You were over 65.
I was over 65.
You remember they spoke about Lobaba were 55 at university, and you're not the oldest guy in class.
Yes. Tim was the oldest at the time.
Now you're going back again. You want to beat his record now and be 65.
Yes.
And you're enrolling for a junior degree.
Yes, a junior degree.
How did you find the experience? Did you get to moments where you thought, why am I bothering my life with this? Or the determination stayed on course from beginning to end?
Yeah, as I'm saying, there were difficult moments where really I asked myself if this was necessary, but then the problem was I never wanted to accept failure. I never wanted to accept a situation where I would be labeled a person who started something but never completed. And I said, no, this one, even if it's difficult, let me just, forge ahead.
If others did it, so you can also did it.
Yes. So, so did it. Why can't I did it?
That's it. And you did.
Yeah. And so I enrolled, and my LLB, and especially when things financially became, the more difficult things became financially in the family, is the more determined I became.
So were you able to work as well, though, during that time of studying for your LLB, to work as a medical doctor?
There were years where I could not work, but and until maybe 3 years or so ago, when I was offered a job by the correctional services. Somewhere who said to me, despite the fact that you are over 65, come and work for us. And now the money is not great. We're still struggling financially, but we are able to put food on the table. And, that enabled me to work faster now on the degree and said, okay, now let me see, if I get this one and I run with a dual qualification, how things would pan out.
You completed the degree now recently.
I did, 2024, 2025. 2023, 2024, 2025. I think in that period I took something like 4 or 5 courses per semester.
Just so you can push it.
Yeah, just so that I can finish. And in 2024, I was left with 11. The beginning of 2024, I was left with 11 courses.
Yeah.
I enrolled 6. And the first semester, I passed 5. And then I was left, and then I had to repeat 1.
Mm-hmm.
Came second semester, 2024, I enrolled 6. I passed 5. The other one, and now there is this thing at the university which you know about, that if you are left with 1 course, and then you are given a special exam the beginning of the year.
See if maybe you can just finish it.
Exactly, just to finish off things. And the beginning of last year, 2025, I was left with only 1 module, and I wrote it, which was medical law.
So when we were celebrating Christmas, you were studying?
Yes, I was studying. Yeah. I was studying because now I said, you know what, I'm approaching the finishing line and I'm left with this one. And my daughter is my witness. I read that guide until, the pages were loose. Where now when you want a guide, you have to put loose pages.
Together, yes.
I read it, Christmas Day, New Year's Day, throw a flat out, and then we went. My daughter accompanied me. We went to UNISA to go and ask for a date. As to when am I writing? Because they were quiet, and I knew that they know. And eventually they gave us a date, and I wrote, and I passed. And I wrote, and we waited for the...
Of course, for the results.
Yeah, and I think it was Sunday, the 13th. Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, runabout plus minus the 13th of April. One Sunday morning, when my daughter Swongile came rushing into my room, and then she started screaming, said, "No, what's going on?" She said, "Hey, Mona, you are graduating."
Celebrating like she's the one that...
Celebrating. Then, now, I'm shocked, and she's celebrating.
Why are you shocked? You wrote. You had a document that was dilapidated because you were studying.
I couldn't believe that now I've got this second degree now.
Wow.
And it took time to sink that now eventually this thing that I admired for such a long time.
Now you have it.
Now I'm having it, and I'm also having my MBCHP. And later on I got an SMS on my phone that indeed I'll be graduating on the 25th of June. My daughter Swongile graduated on the 3rd of June.
Wow, look at that. Same university?
Same university.
What?
Yeah, she graduated in a cum laude in her degree, and then 2-3 weeks later, then it was my turn. And it was like a dream come true, because on the 25th of June.
Do you think you may have influenced her in some way? I know she probably can answer this question better than you, but do you think you may have influenced her to study and chase her dream as well?
Yes, I have. I think she feels highly motivated. Because when it's time to read, I may not be good in many other things. I may not be good in many other things. As a young boy, I played soccer, and I was not very good in soccer, but I loved soccer. And I think maybe if I played soccer, maybe I would have played maybe for a second division team, maybe Pirates second division or so on. Though my dream was to play for Pirates, even if I was not very good. I was dreaming of wearing that number 8 jersey. Tell Dr. Koza that that number 8 jersey was my dream.
You just never got it.
I just never got it.
Maybe they should just get you the jersey.
Man, you know what?
With your name on it and number 8.
Yeah. You must please convey this message.
I will definitely convey.
That is one of my dreams that never got fulfilled.
Wow.
But what I'm trying to say, I may not be good in all these other things, but bro, when it's time to read, you must ask Swongile. I don't mind to sit in front of a book for 12 hours.
What?
Yeah, with little breaks in between.
You make a good student.
Muna, when it's time to read, bro, we will read.
So that clearly, as you said, it motivates her as well. She understands discipline.
When it's time to read, we read. I will read and Swungile will read. She can read for 16 hours. Where 12 midnight and 12 midday is the same.
Yeah, you don't even know which one it is anymore.
Yeah, you don't know. You get confused. Oh, it's 12. Which one? Is it 12 midday? Oh,
that's amazing.
Yeah,
no wonder Shai cum laude.
Yeah, but now I no longer go for cum laudes. I think I just go, if I only get my 50, I'm okay. And right now, I'm struggling to get a 50.
I hear you're studying again.
No,
Because you finished that LLB. And now That's why it took us almost a year to arrange for this interview.
The thing is, here's the story. You see, after you complete LLB, when I completed LLB, now I thought, now I'm a big shot now. I'm a lawyer. I can start pushing my weight around and tell people, hey,
I'm a doctor and a lawyer.
I'm a doctor and a lawyer, and I will sue you. Now, then I realized, no, man, there's yet another road. This is what Mandela says, that you climb one mountain.
Yes.
Then you think you're finished, then there's yet another one. Now, then I realized that, no, then the information came through that now, Guy, you've got LLB. Right. Now, what is left for you now? You must do articles.
Mm-hmm.
What is left for you now? You must go to law school.
Board exams.
Go to Auckland Park. There's a law school there. You enroll there. And then because you are employed, you will attend evening classes every evening from 5 until 9 or 10. Every evening for 6 months, you attend classes at law school. You write exams, you write assignments, you have duties to perform, group work, a lot of work. And at the end of the 5 or 6 months, there is an exam, 4 papers. You must pass your 4 papers.
All of them.
All of them. Once you pass your 4 papers, the same papers now is the board exams. Now you must go to the board exams.
It's like being an accountant.
Yes, exactly.
Horrible journey.
Yes. Now the board exams are set in Pretoria by the Law Society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now that's where I am at the moment. I attended Auckland Park. Isquare was 6 months eskoleni. I attended from May last year, on the 5th of May. I started last year, law school. We finished somewhere, September. We wrote exams. I failed some. I wrote again. I passed the 4 papers. Now, it's time now to do articles. It's time now to get ready for board exams. I'm in the middle of the board exams now. I wrote 2 papers because I realized, I think now 4 papers would be too heavy.
You have to do all of them, yes.
Yeah, so now I split the exams now. I'm in the middle of my exams. I'm in the middle of my exams. I wrote 2. I will write the next 2 in August.
You're not a young man. What keeps this energy going of studying? Because there are very few people at your age. What are you now, over 70?
I'm now 71, yeah.
Very few people at this age would still want to open a book. They want to read a magazine now or read the newspaper. But you're determined to get a qualification. What keeps it going?
You see, it's different. There are people who can afford that. If you can afford it, then it's fine.
Afford to sit around and do nothing.
Yes, yeah. I would also love. I would love. A situation where I would sit around and take things easy. But you see, life is not the same for everybody. Everybody's life is designed differently, and my life is designed in such a way it appears to me that I'm going to have to work until I drop, until my last day. Yeah, I am not ready. Financially, we are not stable. We are not, and I'm still struggling at this point in time. Oliver Tambo said, "You are your own liberator." I'm still trying to liberate my family, from that situation where finances are not sufficient. So now but we will get there.
But still, the determination, it can't all be financial. There has to be something else that drives Masilela to want to achieve more. Do you know the the soul that says, well, we need to study, we need to learn things. And does that still exist, that energy? Or like I said, it can only be financial? Because I can introduce you to Ket Matlala and all your problems are gone.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, you know what? Because I think Ket Matlala was a student where I was a teacher.
Really?
In my other life, I was a teacher at Lithabile.
In
Kumamelodi. Yeah, maybe...
It's very possible.
Maybe the school fees didn't come through. Maybe we must check if he paid everything.
No, I'm sure he wasn't that bad all his life.
So now...
but still, it can only be financial.
No, that's a very good question. And you are right. It's not only finances. It's also... I do feel that I've not yet reached the best of what the best version of Ronnie Masilela. I'm still striving.
At 71, that still exists.
Yes, I still think I'm still striving to be the best Ronnie Masilela that I can be, and I've not yet reached that point.
What is in one sentence, the ultimate objective now? The best version of you? It's clear you're chasing that academically. You're not learning how to play a piano, learning how to dance. You're chasing this through academics. What is the moment where you say, I got there now, I'm here now? The same way you did with medicine. So how will that look like now, that best version of Ronnie Masilela?
The best version of Ronnie Masilela is maybe if I can continue with my studies, maybe become a professor, and and I still think at this very same time I do think there's a lot of unfinished business in radio. I still think I can make a contribution on radio. I think in my other life I'm also a pastor. I think I still haven't yet preached enough. I still think I owe the ministry a lot. The best version of Ronnie Masilela is a pastor who will have a platform where I preach the gospel to thousands and thousands, either on radio or on other means, I don't know. But also the best version of Ronnie Masilela would be a Ronnie Masilela where maybe I would succeed in having my book, the book that I wrote, seeing that book, being played on TV as a series or something like that. So now there's still a lot of work to be done. I still need to, to see how to promote that book. It's not yet well promoted. I think it is stagnant. Those are just some of the areas where I think, they are still lacking. Maybe if I can cover those areas,
you'll be all right.
I think maybe then I can maybe sit back and then evaluate things and see if I'm satisfied.
Do you think humans use time that they're given wisely? And it's a broad question, I'm aware. And do you also think that humans misunderstand the concept of age? How we then say, you are 50. Why are you doing that? Why are you studying? Because we tend to have that type of tone, which is why your academic achievements draw so much attention. Do we misunderstand this concept of time and age?
I think maybe the problem, I may be wrong and I may not be wrong, but I think we do not make good use of opportunities, especially time, when time is still available. I work in a prison. I work for a prison, a correctional services, where I see young people, healthy young people squandering their lives away. And I think more often than not, we do not maximize the time that we have available. And only at times when it's too late do we realize how much time we have wasted.
Yeah, and healthy young men today, they are an endangered species because there's so many of them that could be making a positive contribution to society, but they end up becoming your patients.
Yes, and it is very, very, very lamentable. The problem with us human beings is we never realize what we have until what we have is gone. We never realize the value of time. We never realize the value of being a young person.
Good health.
Good health with a health which is not where you do not depend on treatment and tablets every day of your life, where your health is strong and you take that for granted. But one day when that is gone, and then when you start realizing that, I squandered my life, and then it's too late.
What do you say then to a question I asked as well that speaks of how we are fascinated by Ubaba Umdala who goes back to school to study a junior degree. Why do you think we are fascinated by that?
Yeah, people maybe who get fascinated, I think that fascination must translate into a situation where somebody will say, but then what is it that could have prompted, that could have encouraged this person at this age to do ABC? And, I think wise people learn from the mistakes of others.
They don't have to make those mistakes themselves.
But, unfortunately, the ones who are not that wise want to learn from their own mistake, if they ever learn at all. So now, why people are fascinated is because some people are encouraged by that. I get many people, I meet many people who say they, who listen to the first episodes of our recording. I have one young person, who was a colleague of mine, who was going through difficulties, during her articles, and she wanted to give up. And many others wanted to give up. And people are fascinated by this kind of stories because it gives them courage. It tells them that it's never too late. It tells them that it's never too late. It's never too late. For as long as we have not yet arranged your memorial service, then there's always time.
Kicking, remember where we started.
It will only stop the day when we say we're going to his memorial service. Then you must know that the chapter is closed.
I have a tendency of really overanalyzing things, and this one in particular, you'll correct me. Do you think you overburden yourself at this age? That's my perception. And that maybe it's time for you to, kick back and do little. Again, let's not talk finances. Let's talk life decisions now, where you're saying, man, I think I can rest now. And do you think you put too much pressure on yourself?
Yes, I do, because of the circumstances, because of what I still feel I need to achieve. I do put these days I wake up at 5 to go to work, and then, but every day is more difficult than the previous year. The previous day, but I drag myself. But when you look at what you need to achieve, when you look at the situation, the situation around you dictates. It is a situation really that dictates and that prompts you and that tells you that, listen, maybe one day you will have time to rest, but that time is not now.
Not now.
For now, drag yourself. It is true. What you are saying is true, that I do feel that these days I am dragging myself. I'm pushing myself too hard. But the bottom line is I have to. I have to, and because I've got no choice. But then it takes us back to your earlier question that, what is fascinating? Why are some people fascinated? And it takes me back to that, someone out there may learn to say, I don't want to find myself in this situation.
That's true.
So let me rather make hay while the sun shines. Yeah.
Would you bring your two worlds together, the world of medicine, the world of law, at some point? Do you feel there might be, because you said even the very last course that you wrote, the module that you wrote, was medical law.
Medical law,
yes. Would you bring those two worlds together at some point?
Yes, I think with a dual qualification, I think that would be the most sensible thing to do, to bring the two together and to deal with medical negligence, medical law, to assist, where things went wrong, in health facilities. Those patients who were not well treated. It is not so much to punish the Department of Health, but it's also to open their eyes, to say to them, but guys, you can do better. But at the same time, I'm now an attorney, and I will fight for the rights. I will fight for the rights of the patients this time, given the knowledge that I have, that now I'm in a better position to identify what went wrong. I will use that, and I will say, this is what went wrong. Please try and improve this, but with this particular patient, this went wrong, and these are the rights of the patients, and these patients must be well compensated.
I guess it's good to have a very good understanding of both worlds.
Yeah, exactly. So that I think that's where I'll spend most of my time. Yeah.
And would you, the end goal with law, is it being an advocate? Is that the plan? Because I say this because you made reference to these advocates that used to fascinate you at some point in your life.
The thing is, with advocates, advocates mainly spend their time, in court, high court,
yeah.
Arguing out cases. But, when people say, I want to go and see my lawyer, hey, when are you messing with the wrong guy, I'll go and see my lawyer. They actually mean attorneys.
Yes, of course.
You see, an attorney, for any person who needs legal assistance, an attorney is the first port of call.
They refer.
And then the attorney is the one who will do everything, and will sit down with the client, to advise the client on what to do and what not to do. And if the matter needs to be taken further, the attorney will take it further. So now, and then if the attorney thinks that this case needs an advocate, then the attorney will then organize an advocate. Clients do not go to advocates, directly. They have to go via attorneys. Now, if in the field that I want now to specialize in, that is now medical law, you have to have direct access to the clients. Patients will have to come to you and tell you their story, that, I was at this hospital, this is what went wrong, and what do you think? And then we take it from there. So now, against that background, I think I will be better suited with the medical background to be an attorney and not an advocate.
We can't wait to find you seated somewhere and people are consulting.
And no, it's not far off. God willing, it will happen soon.
Very soon.
Yeah, because as I was saying, I'm in the middle of my board exams.
Yeah. I think it's only fair for us to give you this moment to send words of gratitude to those who may have played a role in where you got eventually, whether it's in recent years or throughout. So this is that moment. Who are those people?
There are so many of them, really. There are so many of them. There are so many people. But thank you I will try and think very fast.
Do the best you can. Do the best you can.
No, thank you very much for this opportunity. Yeah. Like I've said, in the previous recording, the families that helped me, throughout my life when I was still in Denelton, the Tibeti family in the Matebolas. I don't know who are still, there, in those families, and, Mamelodi, the Shabangu family, and Dr. Robertson, may his soul rest in peace. But Mrs. Robertson is in Cape Province, in Mossel Bay, I think, at an old age home. I would like to salute her and to thank her for the role that she played in my life. To people, and my teacher, the last man standing is Mr. Masango. He's in Siabuswa. He's still there, and he taught me, at Khotala. Also now when I was at Metunsa and at SABC, unfortunately the people who were kind to me and who assisted me, may their souls rest in peace. Linda's father, Mr. Mlaba, who was my friend, Diti Ngwenya, who was my friend, Elijah Teta Masumbuga, who gave me advice when I joined SABC. I went to see him. He was a legend, and I would like to salute him and to thank him. I would like to thank Mtutuzi Hlope, to thank Sipho Mkhize. I don't know if they are still around. And those are the people at SAPC. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I know of those. And Mr. Lowe, I don't know if he's still around. Mr. Lowe played an extremely important role, and I go to Metunsa. First and foremost at Metunsa, the person who will always stand out there is Professor Mkhukum. Had it not been for him, I wouldn't be a doctor. That's a man who single-handedly, him and Professor Mokhotlane, I would like to thank them, for the opportunity they gave me to become a doctor. And Dr. Martin Mbe, I know he's still around. He's still in Pretoria. And those are among the people, who I remember, and the people I worked with in the Department of Health. Some of my managers, Dr. Patel, Professor Musa Patel, Mrs. Tlhagane, those were amongst the most wonderful managers that I had, and those are just amongst the many, many, many people who played a very important role, and in our church, there are people, who contributed and who, amongst the pastors that I work with, in the ministry, Mr. Dr. Pastor Mashongani, and he played a very important role, and especially in times when things are very difficult, he would always come around and assist. And there are many, 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 many more, but these are just some of those people, I really would like to thank. I think they played a role in my life, that is which is priceless. And also my own family, we are not a big family. My family, Mrs. Masilela, my wife, who played a very important role, who stood by us, as a family, through the most difficult of times, and my daughter also, who stood by me, who helped me with all the technical difficulties. I don't know if I was going to be able to complete LLB if it were not for her help.
Really?
She played a very important role. And some of my friends. And Linda, Mr. Mlaba's son, he has now become my son, my adopted son, and when there are difficulties, things that need to be done, he's always a person, that we would call. And many of the pastors, there are pastors in our church, but and they know themselves, who play a very important role. And I'm really grateful for everything, that especially my family. They, I think for them to be able to cope with me, I don't think it must be easy.
Which part?
Spend most of my time reading. And it is like they feel neglected.
Ula, library or uyafunda.
So now I am grateful to them, grateful to my family for the role that they have played in helping me to achieve. I may not have achieved a great deal. I still wish to achieve more. And but I wouldn't be where I am had it not been for their help. And I also would like to thank you. David, you also played a very important role, in calling me for these recordings and giving me this platform to enable me to tell my story to the world. When other people snapped me elsewhere, when other people thought my story is worth nothing, but you deemed it proper, and you thought this was a story worth telling. That role, and please never undermine that role. It's an extremely important role. And also to you, I am extremely, extremely grateful, because you never say no. We informed you. I asked Linda to tell you that I designated him to inform you that, hey, Muna, tell that man that now I'm a lawyer.
Angangithatheli phansi.
Kungenjalo, I will send a legal document to him, which will make him uncomfortable.
We get them here in this office, legal documents all the time. So
now, immediately after you received, the message from Linda that I'm now a lawyer, you immediately responded positively to say, no, let him come. But the delay was on my side.
You were studying, I get it. Bose Auckland Park, Bufunda.
I was at Auckland Park attending. During this time, I would be at Auckland Park preparing to go and attend.
Okay.
So now, and I just have a few words,
please,
maybe of encouragement, that I wanted to say. I just want to say to all of us, we need to understand that, every successful person has a painful story to tell. So never give up. A school bell that sounds as a disturbance in the morning at 8. It also sounds interesting at 2 in the afternoon. It's just a matter of time. Don't envy anyone. Not everyone who's walking fast has an appointment. Some have a running stomach. If a rose smells better than a tomato, it doesn't mean that a rose can make a better stew. Don't try to compare yourself to others. You also have your own strengths and capabilities and abilities. Look for them and build on them. All animals that exist were in Noah's Ark. The snail was one of them. If God could wait for the snail to enter the ark, his door of grace shall never close until you reach your expected position in life and your destiny. Never look down upon yourself. Keep pushing and never give up. God has got a tendency and the ability to take a nobody, to create somebody out of that nobody in front of everybody.
Well done, well said. Thank you. Usinganga. Kopitori Rhodes.
Yeah, you remind me of Pretoria.
Kopitori Rhodes.
Yeah.
What are these?
Now, you see now this. This is my regalia now when I graduated. And this is the same gown that I used when I graduated for MPCHP.
Okay.
So it was this gown.
So you put it away and kept it there.
I knew that
for later.
Yeah, for later, because I knew that the time will come. So now this.
That is MBCHP.
No, this is MBCHP.
The grey one. Yeah.
This is MBCHP. This is MBCHP.
Hey, but you waited, eh?
Hey, man, I had to wait. Let me wear this.
Hey, you waited, eh?
Yeah, this is...
Okay, sharp. Yeah.
This is MBCHP. Yeah.
You waited for almost 20 years.
I graduated... Okay, look. I graduated MPCHP on the 20th of May, 2000. I graduated LLB on the 25th of June, 2025.
Yeah.
25 years later. 25 years later.
You went back.
I went back and this one. And this one. Then I then got this one. Hey, how do I put this one on? So this is the one now. This is now
the LLB.
Yeah, yes. So now the two go together. The two now go together.
Yes.
Now there we go. This is LLB. This is MBCHP.
Look at that.
Yeah. This
25 years. And Ghana as a reminder to us, MBCHP we really what age? Mid-40s.
I was 46 when 46, I graduated.
Yes.
Yeah, I was 46. Started at 38. Graduated at 46.
And at 70 give or take.
And then at the age of 70, I graduated LLB.
I'm soldiering on. Well done. Congratulations. So the same gown.
It's the same gown.
You kept it. Did you know in the back of your mind that you're going to use it again?
Yeah. And even now, I'm still going to keep it because I will be using it.
You know what? It's coming.
No, it's coming. It's just that I don't want to tell you so that if I don't reach it, you don't say, hey, Muna, you made a promise. But there's something coming.
Ah, la, la. You're studying rocket science now.
Give me 2 years. God willing, I'll be back here to tell you that. No?
Another degree. Another degree.
Yeah, Linda must hang around to show me the directions because that's what I don't get right.
You always get the directions here wrong.
Yeah. So tell him to be on standby. Yeah. Because after 2 years, we'll be back here. And then I will need another hands to carry.
To carry these. Yeah, there will be too many.
Yeah, there'll be too many of these, yeah.
Well done. It was cool. Wow. There you have it. He'll be back in 2 years.
Yeah. No, it's just a matter of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, Masilela. I appreciate it. Eh? Wow. If you're not fascinated by that story, I know something is wrong with you. Thank you, Ray.
Thank you so much. God bless you, and God take this show from strength to strength. And may the good Lord bless you, keep you, and protect you, so that you can show people more stories of this kind.
Yeah.
So that people may understand that despite all the difficulties, the difficulties are not a sentence. You know, your background should not determine your destiny.
Absolutely.
You know, anything is possible and everything is possible.
Yeah.
You just stay positive and you keep on trying, because success has got no deadline.
I like the phrase, not everyone who is rushing has an appointment. Some may just have a running start. Thank you again, Ray.
Thank you.
King David Studio Podcast.